Good afternoon, my name is Ralph Walker. I'm a delegated behind the wheel school bus trainer at MTS Training Academy. We're going to do a pre-trip on the school bus on today. All right, we're going to begin by showing you the front of the bus. My brackets are secure and all three of my mirrors are not cracked or damaged. I'm moving to the front of my bus. My clearance, amber, hazard lights, and high beam lights are working properly. My school bus is legible. My hoods are straight. My windshield has no cracks or damages. My windshield wipers are attached, soft and pliable, and my hoses are attached. School bus number is legible, 7807. My bumper is secure. My license plate is secure and legible, and nothing leaking or hanging under the bus. Now we're going to begin on the left side of the bus. All of my brackets are secure and all three of my mirrors are not cracked or damaged. I'm going to now step back away from the bus so that I can see a lot of my items clearly. My clearance lights are working properly. My horn and antenna is straight and secure. All of my windows are not cracked or damaged. My hazard lights are working properly. And all three of my reflectors are in place and not cracked or damaged. As we go to the righty, emergency exit and emergency exit door is legible at the top of the bus. Michael's Transportation is legible on the side of the bus. CA 217193, PSG 14331 is legible on the side of the bus, as well as the number of the bus, 7807. Also, we have reflective tape around the windows and on the side of the bus. Now, everything else is touch. My fuse panel is secure. My door to my windshield wiper fluid is secure. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to check my fluid level in my reservoir. I see that I have fluid for my windshield wipers. I'm going to put that back on securely. My steering box is secure, and my hoses, no leaking hoses. I have a pitman arm and drag link are secure. Ready? Okay, now we're on to our tires. My tires inflated properly. My fender guard mud flap is secure. My tire tread depth cannot be any less than 4/32 in tire tread depth, and this tire cannot be recapped. No abrasion, bulges, or cuts in the side of my tire. No cracks or rust on my rim. Each one of my lug nuts are secure. Each one of my hub nuts are secure. Nothing leaking from my hub, and my valve stem is straight, capped, and not leaking. Behind my tire, I have my spring mount. It's secure. My leaf spring bracket is not missing any leaves, and none have shifted. My U-bolt is secure and not cracked. My shock absorber appears to be secure. My brake chamber and hoses are not missing any clamps. My slack adjuster and push rod is secure, and my brake drum and linings are secure. My luggage compartments are secure. Lift to open. My emergency exit door opens properly in the locked position. My aisleway is free and clear, and my weather stripping is in place. Both of my tires are inflated properly. Nothing in between my tires. Fender guard, mud flap is secure. Tire tread depth on my rear tires is no less than 2/32 across all grooves. These tires can be recapped. No abrasion, bulges, or cuts to the side of my tire. No cracks or damages or rust to my rim. Each one of my lug nuts are secure. Each one of my rear axle nuts are secure. Nothing leaking from my rear axle. And both of my valve stems are straight, capped, and not leaking. My spring mount is secure. My leaf spring brackets, none shifted or missing. My U-bolt appears to be secure and not cracked or damaged. My shock absorber is secure. My brake chamber and hoses are secure. My slack adjuster and push rod are secure. And my brake drum and linings are secure, as well as my airbag and mounts are secure. My engine compartment door is secure. Okay, now we're going to begin at the rear of the bus. My clearance, amber, hazard, tail lights, and my light to my license plate are all working properly and not damaged. My school bus is legible. My hoods are straight. My window and my rear window is not cracked or damaged. 7807 is legible. Stop when red lights flash is legible. The lens of my rear reverse lights are not damaged. We'll demonstrate them later. My license plate is secure, legible, and current. My reflectors are not cracked or damaged. My engine compartment door is secure. My bumper is secure. Nothing leaking or hanging under the bus. Now, as they say, we're going to pop the hood. Looking straight through to my differential, all the way down where the axle is of the tire, we have the differential, the drive shaft guard, the torque arm, the exhaust system, and the frame of the bus. It's all secure and not damaged. And my tailpipe cannot stick out any more than 2 inches. Also, in the rear of the bus, we have the coolant reservoir. We have the alternator and water pump is secure, and these are belt driven. None of my belts are damaged in any way, or my hoses, or any of my attachments are all in place. My compressor is secure and is gear driven. My transmission and all dipsticks are secure. My power steering reservoir is secure. And then we close the door to the rear of the bus.
And action.
And now we're going to do the right side of the bus. The right side of the bus, we have the clearance lights are working properly and not damaged. All of our windows are not cracked or damaged. My hazard lights are working properly, and all 3 of my reflectors are in place and not damaged. The writing on the bus consists of emergency exit. Michael's Transportation is legible. CA 217-193, PSG 14331 is legible. The word diesel and the bus number 7807 is legible on the side of the bus. Just as it was on the left side, on this side we have the reflective tape around the windows and on the side of the bus. Now everything else is touch. Engine compartment door is secure. My radiator grill is secure. My battery compartment door is secure, but we check inside to make sure we have no corrosion. We close our door back. We come back to our rear tire well. My tires are inflated, both. Nothing in between the tires. Fender guard, mud flap is secure. My tire tread depth cannot be any less than 2/32 across all grooves. And as on the other side, these tires can be recapped. No abrasion, bulges, or cuts to the wall of my tire. My rim has no cracks or rust. Each one of my lug nuts are secure. Each one of my rear axle nuts are secure. Nothing leaking. And both of my valve stems are straight, capped, and not leaking. As I stand back from behind the tire, my spring mount is secure. My leaf spring brackets, none missing or shifted. My U-bolt appears to be secure. My shock absorber appears to be secure. My brake chamber and hoses are secure, not missing any clamps. My slack adjuster and push rod appear to be secure, and my brake drum and linings appear to be secure, as well as my airbags and the airbag mounts are secure. Coming to my cargo, this one we'll just check to make sure it's secure. This one we will open. Make sure that we don't have anything or anyone under the bus. I'm going to take one of my triangles out, and I'll display that it does work properly. It has no leaking sand from the base. It will set up properly. The instructions also on the outside of the reflector if you forget how to set it up, as well as on the lid of the box. As we put this back, we make sure that we rotate every day that we check. Make sure that's secure. Diesel fluid, make sure that you check your diesel fuel cap. Cap is secure and door is secure. Once again, we come to the front tire. Our front tire is inflation. It's good. Fender guard, mud flap is secure. No less than 4/30 seconds of tire tread depth. Front tires, as we said on the other side, cannot be recapped. No abrasion, bulges, or cuts to the tire. No cracks or rust to the rim. Each one of my lug nuts are secure. Each one of my hub nuts are secure. Nothing leaking from the hub in the front. My valve stem is straight, capped, and not leaking. Standing away from the bus once again, my spring mounts are secure. My leaf spring brackets are secure, none shifted or missing. My U-bolt is secure, not cracked. My shock absorber appears to be secure. My brake chamber and hoses, not missing any clamps, are secure. My slack adjuster and push rod is secure, and my brake drum and linings appear to be secure. That concludes the first time around the bus. Okay, so we're going to cancel our amber lights, turn on our red light crossover, go from high beam to low beam, turn on my left turn signal, and cancel my hazard lights. Now I'm going to get off the bus and demonstrate that all of those are working. This is when your feet do not have to stop moving, but I'll go slow. My red light crossover, my left turn signal, and my low beam lights are working properly. My left turn signals are working properly on the side of the bus. My stop sign has been deployed. It's legible and working on both sides. My red light crossovers are working properly, and my left turn signal is working properly and not damaged. So now that we came back in the bus, we're going to cancel our red light crossover. Come from left turn signal to right turn signal. We're going to put the key in the on position to set it up for turning our bus on in the reverse position. Take our tire buddy, push down on the brake pedal, push our tire buddy in real good, and let go of your foot. Now the bus is ready to start. I'm going to start the bus, put the bus in reverse, and then turn the key off and back in the on position so we can check the bus without the bus running to make sure that it's safe and doesn't take off on us. We're going to now get off the bus and show that they are working outside. In the front, our right turn signal is working properly. On the right side, our right turn signal is working properly. And in the rear, we have our right turn signal working properly. Our brake lights, make sure that they are brighter than our tail lights. You know that they're working. And the reverse lights are working, and the audible is working as well. Okay, now that you've come back in the bus right away, put it in neutral. Cancel your right turn signal. And take your tire buddy out. You can place this in another location. And now we'll come off the bus. Now we're going to do the inside of the bus. All right. Our door is secure and works properly. None of my windows are cracked or damaged. And my weather stripping is in place. Watch your step is legible. My aisleway is free and clear. My handrail is secure. My modesty panels, because I have two, are secure. The weight of my bus, the GVWR, is 36,220 in pounds. Head cushion is in place. And I'm going to take my first aid kit and take the paperwork out. I'm going to place this on the front seat. And to conveniently, so you're not looking up and down at the paper, I'm going to put them all together. So first I'm going to make sure that I identify that all three documents match. The last four of the VIN is 7987 on the registration, 7987 on the insurance card, and 7987 on the CHP 292. Registration expires 3/2/2025. The insurance card expires 9/15/2025. And everything that we do from top to bottom, left to right. 2009 International, 7807 Michael's Transportation Services. Last inspected 1/26/2024. Good for 13 months. That means that it has to be inspected by 2/26/2025. This is a 78 passenger bus, 0 wheelchairs. As we go back to our first aid kit, we'll notice that we have a PM sticker, good for 45 days or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. Because we have a 78 passenger bus, we have to have 24 units in our first aid kit. So we'll count them off. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All packages are sealed. The only one that does not have to be sealed are the Band-Aids because they're individually wrapped. And you have to have at least 16 in the box. The weather strip is in place to keep out moisture and debris. I'm going to place my paperwork back inside. And then I'm going to hang my first aid kit back up. Now we're going to check our fire extinguisher. My bracket is secure. My fire extinguisher, the pin and seal is secure. No obstruction in my hose. Fully charged is in the green. Last inspected by the fire marshal, 2024 February, on the 27th. This is good for 1 year. This fire extinguisher will put out trash, wood, paper, liquid, grease, and electrical equipment. This can be no less than an 8 BC. For this fire extinguisher that we have, under the UL, it is a 40 BC. More than enough. Okay. And our stop sign is legible on both sides, and the handle is secure. We'll put our sign back. And now we're ready to check throughout our bus. We're going to make sure that our key is in the on position before we proceed. And now we're going to check our aisleway. We have no obstructions in our aisleway. And now we're going to begin by checking our seats. Checking the bottoms of the seats first. My seats are secure. Turn sideways. My seats are secure. My seats are secure. When you come to your emergency exit, you'll do 3 things in 1 seat to save time. Read emergency exit, do not block, pull handle, and push out to open. You open, you look back to make sure that the emergency light is on, which it is. You should have an audible and visual. You close your window. Now you're going to check a couple windows on each side. And you're going to check a couple seat belts while you're in the same seat. Make sure that they work properly. We're going to continue checking the bottoms of the seats. My seats are secure. My seats are secure. My seats are secure. We're going to read this one as well. Emergency door, do not block. Head cushion is in place. We're going to read this sign as well. Emergency exit to open, lift up. Red bar, push out. We're going to open. We got an audible. And we have a visual. The light comes on in the front. We're going to close our door and continue with our checking the seats. My seats are secure. My seats are secure. My seats are secure. We have one more window. Emergency exit, do not block. Push handle out and push out the window. Window opens and we have our light on as well in the front. Also, we'll check 2 windows as well. And we're going to check our seat belts. Make sure that at least 2 that. And each day we'll check different ones as we check the windows and the seat belts. Checking the bottoms of the seats. Seats are secure. Now we're going to open the rear window. Easy way to do this is to put your one leg here against the back seat. Put your knee in the middle so you're secure. Put your right hand in the middle of the window. Read it. Emergency exit. Do not block. Pull red handle with your left hand. Push with your right hand. Let go with your left hand. And slam it so that the buzzer goes off. The officer will give you a thumbs up because it's kind of hard to see that light from way back here. You get down at this point. Now you're going to check the backs of the seats. The seats are secure. You're going to just check one hatch. Emergency exit. Turn, then push knob to open. Turn around this way that makes it easier for you. So now you're going to open 1, 2. Then you turn the red knob sideways. And then you push the red knob up. It will detach so that shows that people can get out of this opening. You're going to put it back in. And the trick is to put this notch into this notch. Sometimes can be a little sticky, a little tricky. So you're going to put it right in the notch, like so. Then you can reach up on the corner and make sure that you have a click, like so. Now it's secure. You straighten out your red button, and then you just wiggle it as you pull down the hatch. And then at that point, you just check the backs of the seats. My seats are secure. My seats are secure. This is a nice warm day in the bus. Seats are secure. Seats are secure. Seats are secure. And seats are secure. All right. Now that we completed the rear part of the bus and the inside, we're going to have a seat. We're going to sit down in our seat, put our seatbelt on, and as we put our seatbelt on, we're going to make sure that we close our door as well. But as we put our seatbelt on, we'll make sure that it has no frays and is not damaged, and that it works properly. We're going to close our door, make sure that the headlights are on. And we're going to close. We have our door already closed in the closed position, but we're going to make sure that our manual is in the right position as well. Now our door is closed, and we're going to now check our seat for adjustment. We're going to use our left foot right in the middle on this 7807 International. You have to push the lever in the middle to your wall beside you on the left side. So I'm going to push my foot to the left, and this will allow me to adjust the seat. And as we said, on the outside, we go top to bottom, left to right. We do the same thing on the inside of the bus. So now we're going to the top. My radio is secure and working properly. My front dome, be sure to just read them off and turn them on. My front dome, my rear dome, my driver dome, and my rear row dome all works properly, and you can look in your rear view mirror to make sure that they're working. After that, you have your sun visors, one in the front and one on the side. My driver's window works properly, no cracks, and my windshield I can see out of clearly. At that point, we'll do our mirrors. Our mirrors in the bus, we have one that's our rear view mirror or our inside flat mirror. We can see all the passengers on the bus, the head of the person behind you, and you can also see outside of the windows to see pedestrians or vehicles. We have our outside flat mirrors. Our outside flat mirrors show us 200 feet to the rear of the bus. We're supposed to adjust them that you have only 1 inch of the bus showing, and we can see our rear tires touching the ground. For our CHP officer, we don't have to talk about the convex mirrors, but just to let you know what they are, the convex mirrors has a distorted view, but a wider angle. And on the front of our bus, we have our front mirror zone, which is our crossover mirrors. We can see the front of the bus, down to the ground, and around each corner of the bus. So right after you checked your mirrors, now we can go to our control panel. We have our rear heater, works on low and high. You'll listen for the sound in the rear of the bus. Cancel. Our booster pump, you won't hear it, you'll just see it comes on. Our highway horn, our city horn, sounds properly. Our mirror adjusters, we won't adjust them because our mirrors are in place. My door button works properly. 2 clicks, make sure it's 2 clicks open. My stairwell light comes on. And as you close the door, make sure you have 2 clicks when it goes closed. 1, 2. Now because the bus is not running, we have the opportunity to now check the manual door as well. We use our button right here in case of emergency. Flip switch to open. I'm going to flip the switch, and then I can push the left hand side door only. That will open up the door. We turn back around, hit our switch, back so the door closes, and we put our seatbelt back on. Now we have our 3 buttons for our approach lights. First button is our master flasher. Second button turns on our amber lights. We can cancel that. Third button turns on our red light crossovers. Now we're simply checking lights on the inside of the bus. This is our headlights, our dimmer switch for our panel at nighttime. Windshield wiper, you're going to push the button, not turn it. You're going to push the button and make sure that water comes out of our windshield wipers. Our charging port. This is our charging port. Now when we come to our panel, we're going to do two things. First thing you're going to check are your warning lights. We're going to turn the bus off and the on position. Wait to start. Change oil. Track control. If you can't read them all, do it again. Stop engine. Transmission oil temp. Engine light. And we had ABS for our brake system. ABS right here. After we read our warning lights, we're going to start the bus. Now we're going to read our panel and our instrument panel. The bus must be running at this point. Our water temperature is around 140. 50 psi for our oil. RPMs is 7 times 100. That's 700 RPMs. Miles per hour, we're not going anywhere, so it's 0. We have a half a tank of fuel. Our battery is well charged at 14. Air pressure is about 120. Transmission temperature is about 100. We have our parking brake. Pull to apply, push to release. Our ignition switch. Our gear selector. Reverse, neutral, drive. Mode, upshift, downshift. We have our red light crossover, amber light, master flasher, engine compartment, and emergency exit lights. If any of these come on, that means something is going wrong with either one of those or they've been engaged. We have our rear tank, front tank, wet tank. Our fan works on low and high. Our right fan works on low, high. This is our throttle, our cruise control. This is our defroster, works on low, medium, and high. You're going to put your hand out to make sure that the air is coming out. And our heater works on low, medium, and high. Put your hand out to make sure you feel the air coming out. This is our regen buttons. This is my throttle. This is my service brake. This is my tilt. You pull it towards you. We'll tilt the steering wheel. This is my hazard light. Works on the inside. Cancel that. My left turn signal works properly. My right turn signal works properly. My high beam, the little blue light indicates that my high beam are on. And my low beam works properly. My steering wheel has no more than 2 inches of play to the left or to the right. All right, at this time, I'd like to start my dual air brake system. I'm going to do one on the 7807, and this is an international. We're going to begin our brake test by first showing the cut in. The cut in test, I'm going to press down on my service brake and release about 10 seconds and wait to see when my needles start rising. Our needles cannot go any lower than 85 psi. I see that my needles are starting to move. They started moving at 110 psi. That's a good test. I'm going to now show my cutout. I'm going to accelerate my throttle just to expedite time. And I'm going to continue until my needles stop moving. And they have to have a cutout before 130 psi. It did not go any higher than 130 psi. My needles stopped at 120, so that's a good test. Now I'd like to illustrate my static test. I'm going to cut the bus off, back in the on position. I'm going to look at my watch, make sure that my needles are stabilized, and I'm going to say that my time starts now. I cannot lose any more than 2 psi during this application. Right now my needles are sitting at 120. This is an unloaded system. I cannot lose air out of my supply lines and fittings, my air governor, or my safety valve. This is testing the supply side of my air brake system. About 30 seconds into the test, and I have not experienced any air loss at this time. I'm making sure that the CHP officer sees my head moving from watch to my needles as well. Okay. So now, that's been about 1 minute. I've not experienced any air loss. It's still sitting at 120. That's a good test. Now I'm going to start my applied test. I'm going to cover my service brake. I'm going to release my parking brake by pushing it in. And then I'm going to apply my service brake. I'm waiting for my needles to stabilize, which they have. They're sitting right now at 110. My blue needle is sitting at 100. And my time starts now. This is a loaded system. I could not lose any more than 3 psi during this application. Checking for air loss in my service side of my system. Checking for air loss in my service lines and fittings. My relay valve. And my stoplight switch. The system right now is totally under pressure. I'm waiting for 1 minute to go by. We're about halfway there. I have not experienced any air loss. I see that my needles have not moved at all. That's been about a minute. I have not experienced any air loss. That's a good test. Set my parking brake by pulling it out. Release my service brake. And now I'm going to illustrate somewhat 2 things at one time. As I'm releasing the air out of my front tank, which is my secondary tank, I'm watching for my primary tank needle to make sure that it's not moving, showing that my double check valve is working properly. And then also, I'm going to be waiting for my needle to get close to my 60 psi, which I'm going to also check the low air warning that comes on the bus. You'll have an audible and a visual. No less than 60 psi. So both of those are going to happen at the same time. So I'm going to start releasing air out of my front tank. As you see, the blue needle is moving. The blue needle is moving, and the red needle is not. So that means my double check valve is working properly. Now I'm waiting for my audible and visual to come on no less than 60 psi. That was an audible and visual came on right at 60 psi. That's a good test. Now I'm waiting for my audible and visual to come on no less than 80 psi. that was an audible and visual came on right at 60 psi. That's a good test. So my low air warning is working properly. Now I'm going to release the air totally out of my secondary tank. And my primary needle is still staying still. Right now, the double check valve is sealing off the side that I'm depleting all the air out of. And my primary tank still has air. As we get to 0 psi, we're going to move on to our single tank brake test. We're going to move on to our single tank brake test, showing that this bus will stop on 1 tank of air. Now we have no more air in my secondary tank. I'm going to cover my service brake. I'm going to start my bus. I'm going to immediately put it in drive. Quickly release my parking brake. Move the bus forward. Stop the bus and secure the bus. Parking brake in neutral. That single tank brake test was successful. Now I'm going to accelerate to expedite time to make sure that my bus has at least 100 psi before I check my rear tank, which is my primary tank on my bus. This is what they call splitting the tanks. Right now my RPMs are sitting at about 1200 RPMs. You don't want to go too much higher than that. I'm going to make sure that I have well over my 100 psi, because you never want to move the bus unless you have at least 100 psi. Okay, we're well over 100 psi. I'm going to cut the bus off once again and put it in the on position. And we're going to do the same thing for the rear tank, which is our primary tank that we just did with the front tank. We're going to, as we release air out of the rear tank, we're going to show that the front tank needle is not moving, showing that our double check valve is working properly. And then we're going to get an audible and visual no less than 60 psi for our low air warning. So now we see that our red needle is moving, and our blue needle, which is a secondary tank, is not moving at all. So our double check valve is working properly, and we see that our low air warning came on even sooner with our rear tank, and that's about 65 psi. So our low air warning is working really good for our rear tank. We're going to continue depleting the air out of our brake system. Some buses take longer than others. This bus happens to take its time. Okay, we hear the air not coming out anymore. Going to start the bus. Put the bus in drive, release our parking brake, move the bus forward very slowly, and we're going to stop the bus. And that was with 1 tank of air. Parking brake in neutral. Now we're going to accelerate the throttle and do our final steps of the brake system. As we're building up the air, we want to make sure that we go past our 100 psi. Once again, because we cannot move the bus unless you have at least 100 PSI. Okay, we're past 100 RPMs. I'm going to cover my service brake, put the bus in gear. I'm going to release my parking brake. I'm going to move the bus forward at a dead throttle start, and then I'm going to pull my parking brake, and that's our spring brake that went off that stopped the bus. I'm going to release it once again, move the bus forward, stop once with the service brake, making sure we don't hear any metal-to-metal sounds, what have you. And also we're going to move one more time. We're also making sure that the bus is not pulling from one side to the other with our brakes. We see that our brakes are working successfully. We're going to parking brake and neutral, and that discontinues our brake test. So at this time, when you take the key out, this concludes our brake test for now. And now we're going to go check our child check.
Go.
And now, as you go back to check the child check, you're going to check each side to make sure that you have no children in your bus. So I'm checking my seats. I'm checking my seats to make sure I have no children. I'm checking my seats. And then I'm going to reach up, push, and hold the button. You're going to hear several beeps, and the lights in the inside of the bus will flash as well. That means that the bus is now secure. And check your seats as you go back as well to make sure you have no backpacks or any items left or no children in the bus. Also, as you're moving forward, you would ask the CHP officer, would you like me to check this hatch as well? He will say normally no. And then you will tell him also, you will tell him I have 2 more stops to make sure that I have no metal to metal, my brakes are not squeaking at all, and that my bus is not pulling from one side to the other. You'll have a seat, put your key back in, and just in the arm position so that you're ready to go. Put your seatbelt back on. You'll think for a second to make sure you didn't forget anything. If you don't remember that you forgot anything, you think for just a moment. If you didn't remember that you forgot anything, you'll say, I'm ready to go pick up kids. And that will end your pre-trip.